All right, I've had quite the response to my Walking Dead review. In this review, I called it basically the worst episode of The Walking Dead I've ever watched. And that may be hyperbole to some degree. There's been some pretty bad episodes, so not sure if it's the worst episode I've ever watched or just one of the worst, but it's way up there. I've had quite the response to this. People are not happy with me. Uh, the range of response, there are some people who just disagree, and they say why, and that's great. You're allowed to disagree with my opinion. We're all allowed to have our opinions. But then there's, I've gotten comments saying that it's unprofessional to write an article based just on my opinion, which might be true if I was writing about climate change or, you know, um, the war in Syria. But when you write a review of a TV show, you generally just stick with your own opinion. I've never seen it done any other way except for in like round tables where different writers discuss things, and that's a valid way to do it too. But it's not how I do it. I've seen on Twitter someone say that the reason I didn't like the episode was because it had a strong gay man and strong women fighting zombies. I didn't mind the fighting of the zombies. That was probably the best part of the episode, other than Stephen Ogg. I don't base my judgment of an episode's quality on the gender or sexuality of characters. I honestly didn't even remember that Jesus was gay. And I love that there's strong women on the show. I mean, one of my biggest criticisms of Carol right now is that for reasons we can't quite understand, she's kind of left her strong woman behind. Maggie and Sasha are tough, and that's great. And it wasn't ever in my critique that I didn't like that they were strong or bonding or any of that other stuff that people say must be the reason I didn't like the episode. I didn't like the hackneyed dialogue and the stilted delivery. Maggie was fine, and Sasha was okay. Although I really feel like Sasha has like one expression 90% of the time, and I think that Maggie's accent is a little too thick. But those weren't even my criticisms of this episode. I didn't like the expository dialogue that we got through parts of it, like when Sasha said, "There is a fire." And the gate is open, and there's music coming from a car. And it was just stuff like that is really, really, it's poor writing. Most of my criticism boils down to the writing and direction of this episode, and yet fanboys and fangirls constantly defend its characters. I'm defending the characters more than you. That's the truth. I'm defending the characters from bad writing. That's much more dangerous to the characters on this show and to the show itself than a critic's review of the show. My review, not at all threatening to The Walking Dead. It still has magnificent ratings and tons of rabid fans. My review is intended to protect the integrity of the show from shitty writing. And that's what we got this episode. The scene with Enid when the zombie was way far away from her, coming slowly, and she was scared. That is just terrible TV. I mean, there's nothing believable about it. Enid is a hardened survivor. She was plenty of distance away. She could probably kill him just fine. Carl then wrecks his car to kill the zombie, even though he could have just parked, gotten out, and killed the zombie like he normally does. So there's lots of things about this episode that are just, I would say, just genuinely bad. And pointing those things out is not an attack on the characters or the show. Now, this whole response from fanboys and fangirls is, if you don't like the show, stop watching. You know nothing about the show, so why are you writing about it? And on and on and on like that. I do like the show. I probably like it more than I should. It's kind of my favorite bad show on TV, I guess I'll say. And whether or not that's fair, whatever. Uh, I like the characters. I didn't like that they killed Glenn because he was one of my favorites, but I like the characters, even ones that I feel like have gotten written into a bad corner lately. I know I wrote an article about the most annoying characters, and some of them on there are my favorite characters, or were my favorite characters until they were written into this weird corner that they're in. And I don't like how they're splitting up the show into one episode per group, and I think it's a terrible decision. And you can be a fan of something, you can like something and still critique it. You can love pizza And then if you get served a plate of shit, you don't have to eat the shit. You can say, this isn't pizza, this is shit. You don't have to eat it just because you're a fan of pizza and someone tells you it's pizza. I mean, that's how I feel about the showrunners right now for The Walking Dead. They're saying, hey, look, this is still The Walking Dead. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, episode 2 was pretty good. I liked Ezekiel. You know, episode 3 was all right. It didn't need to be a whole episode, though. Episode 4 was terrible, and Rick's driving me crazy, and Negan's driving me crazy. Of course, now the criticism is that I just don't like women or gay men. So obviously, my critique of Rick and Negan, straight white men, we'll just ignore that, and we'll just try to paint you as a sexist or a homophobe because you have a problem with badly written TV. So anyways, if you're so uncritical and so defensive about something like a TV show or a video game or movie or comic book or whatever it may be, if you're so uncritical and so defensive over these consumer products that you'll defend them no matter what happens, you're the problem. You're the threat to the shows. You're the threat to quality because you'll accept anything. They don't even have to work. They can just do whatever they want. And you'll accept it and be happy. And that's no way to be. I'm sorry. There needs to be critical thinking. There needs to be a mutual respect. And that respect is that they give us a good product and then we continue watching it. And if they stop doing that, well, then we either criticize or complain or we stop watching. This is a two-way street. And you don't tell people that they are not fans just because they don't like some aspect of something. This is childish. You're not, if you are 14, I apologize. But if you want to act like a grown adult, then you accept people's opinions. You accept that they have different opinions than you. You like the episode? Great. I'm not going to call you a sexist or a homophobe for liking the episode. I'm not going to tell you to stop watching the show. Grow the fuck up. This is ridiculous behavior. It's unbecoming and stupid. So just grow the fuck up.